All right, welcome back to part two of the mini series on effective communication, especially as it relates to sales and client management. Today, we're going to be covering basically how to get new leads and make sure that you're staying on top of them. So, first things first, number one, on your website, you need to have a form. This is a no brainer. The reason we choose forms over putting your email address on a website is because we can track forms. We can gather more data from forms, we can pre-vet potential customers on forms, and we can have conversion tracking on forms. So, pre-vetting part, that's huge, right? You don't want people reaching out to you who aren't going to be a good fit for your service because then you would have to talk to them either via email or over a phone call and basically potentially waste your time talking to someone that isn't going to be a good fit. So in your web forms, number one thing, make sure that you're vetting in as many ways as you can. This could be a minimum budget. This could be a basic services question. What are the services you're looking for? If they select a service you don't offer, you say, hey, we're not a right fit. Or if you don't have a service that they want to submit, they won't submit your form, right? Part two of that is the actual form notification, right? So once they do hit that submit button, you're going to go ahead and set up a form notification. Most every single form builder is going to have this, right? Whether it's Gravity forms, I prefer WP forms, Ninja forms, whatever it might be, right? So once they submit that form, you're going to have it sent to a core inbox for whoever is leading your forms. You can have that inbox associated with a CRM, a sales enablement tool, whatever you want it to be. It just needs to be something that's monitored by people, right? The form should include all the information submitted by your customer. All right, that's square one. Check out the first video in this series and my previous post to understand how to better manage your inbox and respond to people quicker. But that's square one, okay? Now, say they don't submit a form and they call you instead. Well, you can set up a system like CallRail, which is call tracking on your website. The beauty of CallRail is your main phone number still exists on the web. You still preserve your name, address, and phone, your NAP for SEO rankings and settings. But you can also track phone calls, you can record them, and you can also rate them. So one thing that's really nice is that if you have a team and you're getting a lot of phone calls, but they aren't good, you can start rating them, sending that information back to marketing platforms like Google Ads, like Facebook Ads, or back to your marketer and saying, hey, these just aren't very good. The other part is you can actually vet your sales team, whoever's answering those phone calls. So if you have a recording of that call, you can listen back and say, hey, this customer asked about this service and you didn't really jump into it. Or, hey, this customer was waiting for you to ask them about availability. Or, hey, you didn't answer with your name and the business name when answering the phone. That's an easy one, right? Hey, my name is Matthew Resnay. This is Prospect Future. How can I help you? Right? These are the basics. So having call tracking super helpful. Additionally, with a call tracking platform like CallRail, you can have it send you notifications for missed calls. So I have notifications set up so that if someone calls one of my main numbers, it'll send me an email and say, hey, you were called. That way, everything goes into my email inbox for calls or notifications. All right, maybe you don't want to manage all of your leads through your inbox. That's perfectly fine. I still recommend having a system so that you can track them in an inbox. Again, in my previous video, I covered how to filter, sort, and archive things. And that might be a good way is just label leads and put them somewhere so you can reference them later. But in terms of management, send them to a CRM or sales enablement platform like Salesforce, like HubSpot, whatever it might be. If you don't already have one and you need one, you're a small business, I highly recommend Brevo. It's not one that I actively use because I've built a completely different system, but Brevo is incredibly cheap, is incredibly robust, and it has a ton of amazing features. This company is fantastic. I cannot talk highly enough of them. Within Brevo, what you can do is you can have all of your leads automatically send into Brevo. You can, again, choose whether or not those are leads. You can put them into different lists. You can choose how you basically label their profile, what type of attributes you include within that lead. And then on top of that, you can create tasks. So you can go and create a task type. You can say, hey, I need to follow up with this person tomorrow. Okay. This is a great way to stay on top of your communication so that you're not forgetting to reach back out to people. Again, you should be reaching back out to any new leads in under 48 hours. And realistically, it needs to be within a couple of hours of receiving that lead. Having a CRM especially a sales CRM, is going to make sure that you are staying on top of things because it's going to be able to set reminders. A lot of these tools, you can have automations preset. You can have round robin systems preset so that it assigns to whoever the next available operator is. This is huge for time management, tracking, and then just checking overall activity of that person. You can actually look at a history of what you've emailed them, the phone calls, the notes, and with Brevo in particular, you can associate them with deals, companies, whatever it needs to be. Personally, I've built my entire CRM into ClickUp, my task management platform. It's also my CRM, and it's just the way that I do business. It makes sense for me. So I have all of the companies that I work with in ClickUp, so I can say, hey, okay, here's the company I'm working with. All I want to do is I want to create a subtask. I'm going to say that this type of task is actually a task, not a company, and I'm going to say follow up with John, right? I can assign it to myself. I can add a date, I can add a priority, I can save it, or I can even, on top of that, I can create a reminder for this if I don't want it to be as a task, right? So there's a lot of different options in terms of following up. You should never miss the mark on that. It's really straightforward. It should be under 48 hours. You need to have a system in place to do this. All right, last but not least, we want to look at how you follow up. So again, we talked about how to answer the phone properly, but how do you follow up with people once you've already spoken to them or once they've reached out? If they've reached out to you, you can use a tool like Calendly. You can use HubSpot scheduling platform. There's a lot of scheduling platforms that integrate directly with your calendar. I'm a huge fan of Reclaim, which I'm going to talk about in a later video. But basically, use a scheduling app so that you're not playing the back and forth game and creating more friction when you're trying to schedule a time to talk with each other. That's an initial outreach. We're all humans, right? So you want to start that initial outreach with, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Would love to talk more about your business. Here's my link to book a time. Pick a time that works best for you, right? Straight, simple, very to the point. Now, say you had a great meeting with that person. Ideally, in that meeting, you're asking them a lot of pointed questions. You're curious about their personal and business life. This is important regardless of what type of relationship it is, right? Especially if it's a high ticket sales relationship, you need to be asking questions and you need to make sure that they know that you care about their business. You care about getting their business, but once you do get the business, you care about keeping that business and doing what's best for them, right? Okay, so in terms of that, we're going to send a follow up email. This follow up email should be in same business day, no matter what. Absolutely. Ideally, it's within an hour of after having the call. Sometimes we're busy, sometimes we're in back-to-back meetings. I get it, but this email should be within one business day, right? Oftentimes after a call, if I can't meet that deadline, I'll say, hey, just want to let you know, I'll send you a follow-up email today. At the latest, it'll be tomorrow morning. That way you preface your communication style with that partner and they know, hey, this guy's going to stick to his word, right? So in that email, very straightforward, very to the point. Hey, it was great talking with you today, learning more about your business. I think that our marketing services can really benefit you and drive more leads at X value, right? I've gone ahead and I've attached the proposal that we've talked about. If you want to chat about anything included in it, let me know. I definitely think that these pain points that you talked about can be solved if we get started by this date. Would love to partner together. Let's get started, right? This needs to happen right away. So I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have any questions on any of that in terms of sales follow-up, communication, CRMs, task management, email inbox sorting, please let me know.